Seared, Seared, and Feared is the seventh episode of Toon Marooned, which is part of the Looney Tunes Webtoons series. And this one's pretty good fun. It's very different because we have a slightly different location, and it didn't go the way I was expecting, so I'll keep this spoiler free very briefly, and then I'll discuss the outcome with a spoiler warning. This one involves the characters, the current contestants, having to capture a fish with their bare hands, and this is set underwater. Yes, one does need to suspend disbelief a little bit because the characters are spending a lot of time in the water and underwater, but it works very well. It's beautifully animated. There's a lot to look at. Obviously, we have a lot of different fish, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's a nice change of pace. I think if every episode was set underwater, it would lose its appeal pretty quickly. But as a one-off, as something a little bit different, I thought it worked really well. I also loved the animation of the characters when they're swimming. I'll mention a couple of highlights with a spoiler warning in a moment, just in case you don't want to know which characters are still in the competition. But visually, it was really fun and really engaging, and I really liked it. As I said, though, it went in a direction that I hadn't expected. So, with a spoiler warning, I will now mention a couple of specific moments that I enjoyed. This, of course, includes mentioning specific characters, and then I will say what happened and who got immunity, because the immunity is back. I mentioned recently that I didn't like that they took that away. Some of the prizes had been a little bit different in recent episodes, so I like that the immunity concept came back, and then of course they voted off somebody, and it did not go the way I'd expected, and I will discuss those now with a spoiler warning. So the two bits that I loved the most about this episode, or visually at least, we have some great movements from Sylvester. Movements of the cat underwater are just beautiful, so gorgeous to look at. And then we have the moment where Tweety captures a fish and he goes all puffed up, and it's absolutely adorable. It's so, so funny. Really thoroughly enjoyed that as well. And then we get the characters voting off, and Tweety, of course, gets the immunity because he caught the fish first. And I wasn't expecting that. Maybe at this stage, sure, Tweety could be kept in, but as I've mentioned before, I feel like Tweety, up until the last two episodes, didn't really have that much of a prominent role to play. He was kind of just working in the background, which might be a good way to avoid being voted off, I guess. But until the last two episodes, he wasn't really providing anything interesting, so I'm really sure what will happen with that character. I thought one of the winners could have been Elmer Fudd, because I think it'll be too obvious to win. So I think Daffy will come second. That's just my prediction, and that's been my prediction pretty much since the beginning. So when they voted off Elmer Fudd, I was really surprised. I didn't expect it to go that way. So I genuinely don't know what's going to happen now. My new prediction is that Sylvester is going to win. Sylvester seems to have had a pretty good role to play in this. Could be Taz. I really don't know. It could be Daffy, and it could just be really obvious. We'll see how it goes. Still a couple of episodes left, but I thought that this one was really enjoyable. Seared, and Feared is a little bit different, and one that I certainly had a lot of fun with.